Hello, today is Tuesday, the 18th of October, 2011, and the video title on the screen is Occupy San Diego Protesters Maced by Police. And I want to talk a little bit about Occupy Wall Street in this video. And what I find very interesting about the protesters is that it's been an extremely peaceful one. There has been some cases where the police officers have done things, well, like this, macing people, but overall, the situation of consciousness within the people is really showing signs within the universal law that I've been talking about. Well, not so much, but that I've got documented on the channel about positive and negative energy and the increase of that of positive energy, which will be soon moving into a hyper increase of positive energy. With that being stated, there has been none of these riots that we are so used to seeing. And let's take a look at what these police officers are doing. They're macing people in the face. They're not shooting them in the face with bullets. They are arresting them for 24 hours or 36 hours. They're not doing any beheading, which is the things that have been done hundreds and thousands of years ago, when, of course, things were in a more negative world, basically. So a lot of this is playing out, I think, very, very nicely as I see it anyway. Now, I want to go over this Wikipedia page for Occupy Wall Street. There's really a couple charts in particular that I want to go over, this being the first one, which is the annual U.S. income share of the top 1%. And what we see on this chart is that back in the 1970s, it was below 10%, as we can see that during the big hyperinflationary cycle of the 1970s, when prices increased on average well over 100%, some 2, 3, 400%, that a lot of people had the money, if you will. Thus, they were able to pay the higher prices, which is not the case here in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. But it does show how the rich are getting richer within this chart. Now, what I find interesting about this media has been nominated for deletion since 17 October 2011 or yesterday, October the 17th. And the reason is because it's potentially a copy of this, not Speedy, because it could have been reconstructed, and that's the copy right there. Pretty much the same, but it's not the same. It's just the data might be the same, and there is no copyright within the data as far as I am aware of. So I find that very interesting. I want to go over a another chart on this page, which talks about the news media, and that's right here. This is how much the Tea Party has been mentioned versus Occupy Wall Street, and this compares the Tea Party in red, which was from April 15th, 2009, and 22 or so days into it, I guess, and the first 22 days into Occupy Wall Street. It didn't take long for the Tea Party information to really come into surface, and then it lost its momentum. You can see here, you'd be thinking it's going to start to end, or I'd like to see the red chart more, see how it bottoms or goes back to zero. And this one, it really wasn't covered much to start off with. It started off in here, you got its early coverage, but no, excuse me, it started here. And it took like 8 days for them to really talk about it. And then boom, they had a small discussion within it, and then it goes a lot higher, still below what they were talking about with the Tea Party protest, which is nothing in comparison to this one. But that's because they know that they're attacking them and the system, and they don't want that system to die. So what are you supposed to do about that? And they're in a difficult situation. If they completely ignore it, they're going to give away the fact of who they are, but that's going to happen anyway because that's what Occupy Wall Street is doing. And another interesting trend is this is the Occupy Wall Street search on Google Trends. This is a 30-day chart. And we see here, this is the search volume index. This is what people have been searching on Google, how often they are searching it. And the rating of 2 and 1, I have no idea what that means. And but I do know what the trend is saying, and that's higher highs and higher lows. But the news articles Well, it started here for the people wanting to type it in and see it. So they had a big surge of, what you call that, a surge, of people on this news reference on the bottom. This is news articles, and you can see on sideways for quite some time, right until here. And then they give it a little bit of attention, higher high, but notice that this level bottom is now back to here, where this bottom is back to this previous resistance point. This resistance point is this line in here. It's below it. This is stating the mainstream and those news channels, those newspapers don't want to talk about it. And I find that extremely interesting, to say the least. Where this is most popular for search is Portland, Oregon, New York City, San Diego, Austin, Texas, and I think Austin's the most awake nation in the world. Philadelphia, Boston, Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. Okay, that will be it, except for I'm going to talk about Occupy protest, to the global part of it. So far in Canada, there's 20 Canadian cities. United States, we have 70 major cities and 600 communities. United Kingdom, it's London, Bristol, Birmingham, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and there's just a bunch of different places. Ireland, Italy. There's a lot of them. Occupy South Africa. There's a, I guess South Africa is U.S. No, that can't be right. Although I've already clicked on it. Anyway, it just says that's U.S. cities. South Africa, of course, is located in Africa. But anyway, it's all around the world. It's most likely going to be that big hyper wake up call for the people. When I say hyper wake up call, I think there'll be more people that will wake up from the time that Occupy Wall Street started a month ago over for the rest of the year, basically, than there would have been through all the years combined up until that point. So everyone that woke up on the channels on YouTube in earlier part this year, in 2010, in 2009, in 2008, 2007, 2006, or whenever, the sum of those people will be lower than the sum of the people in this 2, 3, 4 month span that's going to wake up because of Occupy Wall Street. That's a prediction I'm making right now. And we'll see how well that goes. If I do a Google search for dollar revolution, dollar rent-a-car is more popular right now. There we go. There's one of my videos right there from May the 1st, 2009. And if you do a YouTube search for it, Dolly Parton got the bids early on. See, Dollar Collapse is now number 4 on that list, which I find very interesting. This, the $1 trillion revolutionary, I have no idea what that is. So I'm just going to finish typing in dollar revolution. Maybe I made a spelling mistake, maybe not. And there's another one from 2 years ago. Upcoming dollar revolution. Well, guess what? It's here. Second American Revolution. 1 year ago, Demcad. 2 years ago, Mayan calendar predicts dollar collapse and revolution. Guess what? We're here. JSNIP. 1 year ago, global revolution. Webbot? Question mark. Outdated economy. Dollar collapsing. Part 2 of 3. The Webbot's pretty hot right now. And now they got the big test coming up, Shocktober. Hey, there's still some time left, and from the sounds of it, as JSNIP was stating, with where the big people are, if you will, which is this weekend, that next week could be that big week. Take care, everyone.